Well, good morning. I want to thank everybody for participating. We have two topics that we want to address today. First is the thing about what is the Department of Justice and the federal government is doing in terms of sending resources to urban centers throughout the country. And I guess Cleveland was named as one of those places, so we want to clarify what that means in terms of Cleveland. Then we want to have an update and a briefing on COVID-19 and how we're proceeding on that in terms of enforcement. And with Department of Justice, as you know, we have had a long-standing relationship with the Department of Justice in our partnership in regards to crime reduction and with the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Ohio. That has really been something that's been ongoing for some time, not just with this current U.S. Attorney, but with the two previous ones since I've been there. And we work with the FBI, DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshal, or the state of people, the county. And so it's my understanding as of yesterday that that relationship continues. And as you know, we made an announcement in January about a new initiative, and that it was kicked off in January that we're currently in. And again, it's my understanding that that status is still the same, but the chief will be able to give you more details about that. In terms of COVID and the pandemic, Director Howard, who is leading up the effort to do the strategic and systematic enforcement based on our no mask proclamation coming from the mayor and ordinance that was introduced and passed through council on the penalties and what was required by businesses that really have large gatherings of people in close proximity and basically indoors. So we'll start off by having the chief talk about the law enforcement side. Chief.
Thanks, Mayor. I want to start off by saying we echo exactly what the mayor says. What we're doing here in the city of Cleveland with our federal, state, local, county partners is no different than what we've done at least over the past 30-something years I've been involved in law enforcement here, and definitely the last 6.5 as chief. What I do want to emphasize to the people of this city is that the mayor, and it's almost 4 terms here, myself in the last 6.5 years as chief, will never, ever put the citizens of this city in harm's way with enforcement efforts. As a matter of fact, the mayor has spent all of his time as mayor, and I've spent all of my time as chief fighting against that to make sure that there's professional, respectful, and constitutional services delivered to the people of the city. And we'll accept nothing less than that, be it from our officers or anybody else that comes in this city to assist us. What people are, I'd say, are scared of or upset about is, again, something that we do all the time. And I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. There are no federal troops coming to the city of Cleveland. We have not requested, nor has the federal government asked to send federal troops to the city of Cleveland. As the mayor stated, in December of last year, 2019, the federal government, along with our other safety partners, came to us with another initiative, a continuation of things we do all the time, to actually start here in January of this year, started in January, called Operation Relentless Pursuit, which is a violent crime reduction initiative, plain and simple, with law enforcement on all levels, the federal, the state, the county, and the local level. That started in January, and we've seen a lot of dividends from that. What you're seeing now, and these officers, again, from all those agencies are already here in Cleveland. They've been here for weeks, conducting operations along with the Cleveland Division of Police. What you're seeing now is the second part of that, where we start basically a strategy that targets individuals committing violent crime in the city and try to disrupt those operations within the city, whether it be those carrying guns or the illegal drug trafficking in the city or illegal gang activity in the city. Again, I want to stress, there are no federal troops coming to the city of Cleveland. There are federal, state, county, and local investigators, law enforcement officers already in the city of Cleveland for weeks that have conducted operations in conjunction with the Cleveland Division of Police to suppress violent crime in the city. We had 2 people shot last night, both in the head. And unfortunately, and our prayers go out to those families, one of those individuals died. The folks that are coming here, are here to combat things like we had last night and things like a lot of people have complained about over the last few months here in the city. So again, I just have to keep stressing this. There are no federal troops coming to the city of Cleveland. There are law enforcement investigators on all levels of government that are here, that have been here, and that are assisting the city and the neighboring communities in the reduction of violent crime in the city. Thank you.
Greetings, City of Cleveland. I want to speak with you about the collaborative effort going on to combat COVID-19 in the City of Cleveland. Combating the spread of this virus has and will be taken very seriously. The state of Ohio and the City of Cleveland has leaned forward in addressing the need to reduce exposure and work to flatten the curve. We have taken a collaborative approach from the very beginning. In March, to lead the way, the mayor issued an emergency proclamation which has been extended through July 31st. And on July 15th, the city has passed through City Council an ordinance as a tool in our fight against COVID. The ordinance, in conjunction with the state's safe dining order, has been a tool and has served as a means to facilitate a collaboration between the City of Cleveland's Department of Health and Department of Public Safety, along with our state partners in Ohio State Liquor Control. We have over 75,000 confirmed cases in the state of Ohio and almost 4,000 cases in the city of Cleveland. There is no acceptable amount of loss with regard to COVID. This is why the city has worked to inform businesses of their need to protect their patrons by enforcing the wearing of masks, facilitating social distancing, and reducing their occupancy rate. This is all intended to reduce the potential exposure of COVID-19 to our citizens. Over the past few weeks, we have gone out into every district, visited businesses, issued warnings, provided information on what they need to do to combat COVID-19, how they need to redevelop their floor plans, how they need to facilitate social distancing, the requirement for them to wear masks. We've had businesses who have reached out asking for more information, and we've provided that. We have met with business owners and discussed our expectations and what they need to do to reduce COVID-19. We have issued citations in violation of the state dining order, as well as the ordinance passed by City Council. About this, the citation that is issued to businesses for the first violation they receive after the warning is a fine of $1,000. Every incident thereafter will be a fine of $3,000. We have been relentless in visiting businesses throughout the weekend, discussing with businesses throughout the week of what we need them to do. Again, I'll tell you that there's no acceptable amount of loss. There is enough death. We need crime to be reduced. We need compliance with the COVID orders, the safe dining order and the ordinance passed by Cleveland City Council. We need folks to follow the lead of the city of Cleveland in combating COVID. There are folks who don't believe that COVID-19 is real. It's very real to those who have contracted it. It is very real to those who have lost family. This needs to be taken seriously. We have had numerous calls for mass gatherings. I implore you, the city of Cleveland, the citizens of Cleveland, need to take precautions against this virus. It is going to be with us for some time. Reduce the mass gatherings. Reduce the barbecues, the house parties, reduce the get-togethers. If you have to get together, please do it in the amount of the safe dining order of 10 or less. Wear your mask. Protect yourselves, your children, and your families. This is affecting a lot of people. Those with pre-existing health conditions, this can prove fatal. For those from ages 20 to 29 and 30 to 39, we have seen a significant increase. And while folks may feel like they can survive this virus, there are long-term implications that are not yet known. We've spoke about this before in the past, that it can affect your respiratory system, your cardiovascular system, your brain function. There are long-term effects. Do not write a check with COVID that you have to cash later. Take this serious now. Let's flatten the curve. Let's combat this virus and understand that this is something that public safety cannot solve. We need everyone to take ownership of this crisis. With that, I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Okay, any questions?
Okay, so now we will move into the Q&A portion of the press conference. Please make sure that you dial 10 to be entered into the Q&A queue. The system will let you know when you have been unmuted to ask your question. Please be sure to proceed your question with your name and your media outlet. Please stand by while we move into the Q&A portion.
Your conference is now in question and answer mode. To summon each question, press 1, then 0. Each question will be asked in the order it was received. You have 2 questions remaining.
Mr. Mayor, Harry Boomer from Channel 19 News. How are you?
Doing good, you Harry?
I'm doing well, brother. Trying to stay COVID-free and keep people informed about everything that's happening.
Right.
There is some concern about what's happening from Washington in terms of local government control of whatever it is that you're trying to do to arrest crime. Given that, do you have any misgivings about not having been told about these federal agents coming to Cleveland, no matter what their role is going to be?
Well, as the chief mentioned, we're in the same status we were today as we were last week and last month, and we anticipate, based on our conversation with the federal people, that we'll be in the same status going forward. So there are, as my understanding, no additional people coming. What they've done, they've just renamed the initiative to this, I think, Project Legend is what they call it in Portland. So they renamed the initiative, but what has actually happened is no different than what we've been doing in the past in terms of working with our partners. So again, it's my understanding as of yesterday, and the chief will be meeting with people today from the Department of Justice, and he will report back to me, but it's our understanding that there are no additional personnel coming to Cleveland. It's just a renaming of what we were already doing, and the discussion is more about what additional resources that may come available to help this initiative be more effective.
Thank you, sir.
You have 1 question remaining.
This is Eric Heisig, reporter for Cleveland.com with the Plain Dealer. Thank you all for doing this. The question I have, though, is my understanding, by the way, is that this does include more people, but it was still the same number of people called for under Operation Relentless Pursuit. When did you, as the department, or you, as the mayor, or anybody as the city, end up finding out about this initiative?
Well, we found out probably from you or some other media out there. There was no one who called us and said you were on some special list. As you know, a lot of times these announcements are made, and then media comes to us and says, "What do you know about it?" And I believe that is the way this happened on this particular incident. But when that does happen, we immediately then go out and begin to inquire with people about whatever the information is given us. And in doing that, over the last, I would say 4 to 5 days, we've narrowed it down to what we believe is going to be happening in Cleveland going forward. And the same thing happened. Someone called us about Cleveland being on a list for the COVID-19 task force in DC pointed out Cleveland as a city that should be more aggressive in terms of this COVID-19, and we heard it the same way. Someone told us about it, and so we're responding to it. That we've checked into what we're doing, and we're reporting back.
Does that concern you that you heard it from us first?
That's why I always validate it when I hear it from y'all first. But it concerns me that if we're going to be true partners, and that is one of the major problems that we're having, not only in terms of combating violent crime, but also combating the pandemic, is that there is no real coordination happening at the federal level that provides a framework for states and local governments to function under. And whenever you leave the states or local governments to handle it on their own, then we just do what we do independent of anything else. That's not the most effective way to do it. It's always better if there's a coordinated activity, if there's between the various levels of government in order for us to be more effective. That always works much better.
Thank you.
Right.
You have 0 questions remaining.
Well, it looks like we have 0 questions, they say, remaining, so y'all probably already got the information y'all wanted before this press conference, but I'll wait a little bit longer, and then we'll see if there's any other questions. Yeah. See.
You have 3 questions
Oh,
remaining.
boy, I talked them up. Come on, wait. Go ahead.
Mayor Scott Knoll from News 5.
Yes, how you doing?
Understanding that this is essentially the same program that was introduced in December, correct?
Yes, that's our understanding as of yesterday, and the chief will be meeting with people today at 1 o'clock. And if there's anything other than my understanding from yesterday, he will inform me, but yes.
Is there any indication how many additional federal resources have already come into Cleveland as part of Operation Relentless Pursuit?
I think that varies from time to time, but the chief can answer if you know, Chief.
Yeah, I don't have an exact number for all the agencies involved, again, on the federal, state, local, and county levels. But what I do want to clarify is that there are no additional resources as far as personnel coming into Cleveland. What was put out yesterday and a couple of days before that from Washington specifically named those resources going to a couple cities. And Cleveland is not one of those cities that's getting additional personnel. What we've been allotted, again, 6-8 months ago when this Operation Relentless Pursuit started, is what the city is going to get. We haven't had any additional resources added to that as far as personnel. There may be additional funding to assist with equipment and resources and things like that, but the narrative going around that the city is going to get 200 additional folks, be it on the federal, state, county, or local side, is not true. There are no additional resources coming. And as the mayor stated, we have a conference call at 1 o'clock with all of our partners involved in this in law enforcement to talk through some of the finer details and to clarify so that everybody that's involved in this is clear that we are status quo on everything that we agreed to back in January.
How concerning is it that even with these additional resources already in place, Cleveland has seen a significant uptick in violent crime, particularly crime involving firearms?
Well, again, there are resources here, there are resources coming, again, that are part of the original allotment that we decided on back in January. All those folks aren't currently in place, but they're coming. All of our folks are just getting in place next week. Some of our folks were in place. So it's COVID kind of pushed everything back. This operation was really supposed to be started in earnest a month ago. We were supposed to kick it off on June 15th, but with COVID, everything got pushed back because there's no travel for anybody and no face-to-face meetings, none of that stuff. So we pushed it back. So you'll see a ramp up here over the next 2 or 3 weeks in both our personnel, our partners' personnel, and our efforts out there to combat violent crime.
And what will that look like for people just living in the city?
Well, I can't tell you exactly what it's going to look like because a lot of what we're going to do, you're probably not going to see immediately. A lot of it's undercover work, a lot of forensics work, behind the scenes work. I just can't give you, our tactical plan right now. But we expect this to pay big dividends down the road here for the city and surrounding communities.
And what sort of mechanisms are in place to measure that effectiveness?
What do you have in place to measure it? Well, let me point, pardon me.
We'll report out on that.
He says he'll report out on it, but right now he doesn't want to share that, but he will report out on it. But let me also emphasize to you that we have continuing relationships. I know that I hear out on the street, ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms are very aggressive in targeted areas of the city of Cleveland where they have high concentration of the use of guns and violent crime. And as you know, the federal policy around guns and gun ownership and all that, and the availability of guns on the street, particularly in the hands of young people, has really added to the problems that we're having. But ATF is even right now is very aggressive in terms of focusing just on guns in areas where there's a high level of crime, violent crime with the use of guns. And this adds to it.
You have 3 questions remaining.
This is Eric Tyson again. I didn't realize I would get another bite of the apple because I thought more people would have questions, so thank you. Hey, Chief, just to clarify, I want to make sure that I'm understanding this too. You have said that, let's just say hypothetically the number is 100 allocated and only 75 got here during the pandemic. Because of the pandemic, the rest weren't able to come. This Operation Legend portion of it really just gives temporary 25 more. Is that your understanding of it, or am I misrepresenting that? I don't want to do that.
No, Eric, it's not a temporary addition or anything like that. Again, there were numbers decided on all levels. The city of Cleveland decided what its contribution would be to this initiative back in January, as well as our other partners. Those numbers are the same, and that's what I've been told by all of our partners as late as yesterday evening. We'll have another conversation about numbers today, but the city of Cleveland is not going to get an additional 100 officers, be it on the federal, state, or local level, to add to this initiative. The only thing that's really changing from what we started in January is the name of the initiative itself.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Do you anticipate, and I don't know, do you anticipate these charges to be, what kind of charges are you looking at? I know in Kansas City, they're looking at, weapons charges. I don't know if you guys are looking for more serious into as part of that, or if that is really reserved for other initiatives and other units as part of Cleveland Police and federal agencies.
If I understand your question correctly, Eric, charges as it relates to this task force, we're looking at anything and everything that relates to violent crime, be it on the federal level or on the state local level in common police court. So there are county partners involved, both from the prosecutor's office and the county sheriff's office, and there are, of course, our federal partners involved in this. So together, they'll determine the charges based on the arrest, based on, of course, the evidence that's collected during any arrest in the city. I do want to make one other real valid point. This is not Portland. This is not even close to what's going on in Portland. The people that are sent here, again, on the federal level, the state level, or even the county level, are not those type of folks. These are investigators. They are not sent here to assist us in any way, shape, or form with any First Amendment activity, any protest, any gathering. That's not their mission. And that hasn't been their mission the whole time they've been here, and there won't be their mission going forward. They're not here for First Amendment activities. We got that. That is not what this is all about.
Thank you.
You have 2 questions remaining.
Tiffany Parkley here with WKYC. Good morning.
Morning.
I was curious. I talked to some community leaders yesterday, and one of their concerns, I mean, even when you're talking about Operation Relentless Pursuit, you have outsiders coming into the city. So whether it's from the federal government, the state, people who do not have ties to this community, some of the concerns are more breakdown within the community relations with police and people who live here. How would you respond to that?
Well, we expect anyone who comes to the city of Cleveland and anyone we partnership with to conduct themselves in a professional manner and in a constitutional manner. At the same time, we are in the urban center, faced with some urban center problems that are associated with crime, particularly violent crime. And there are people who live in those environments who are basically hostage to that environment. And we intend to relieve them of the burden that they have to bear in their environment. They have a right to feel safe and be safe in their homes and in their communities. What this is for. But anybody come to Cleveland, our expectation is that they will be professional in what they do and that they will be constitutional in whatever enforcement that they have to do.
I would say we also hear, whether it be, through other channels, this idea of people concerned over secret police. How would you respond to that? Because even investigators, plainclothes, whatever, not from here, people are often calling them, giving them that name of secret police.
Well, I guess it's all in the connotation of whatever name you give it. What the chief has said that these won't be uniformed people, as it was in Portland, where they were in military uniforms with no identification patches and having vehicles that were unmarked, and they were just dealing with protesters and picking them out and putting them in unmarked vehicles and taking them away. That is not going to happen. If you have any understanding of the way in which police work, there's always some undercover work going on by the Cleveland police officers, even, and they're here. There's always intelligence being gathered in order to attempt to get ahead of criminal activity, and also to be able to solve crime and to identify those who are perpetrating crime. So the intelligence part of it and the undercover part of it is what goes on everywhere, whether they're from the outside or from the city of Cleveland. That is just the way it functions. And then you have the enforcement end where you actually have the arrest. I mean, you reported recently where there was an arrest of people that that resulted in months of investigation by investigators who were doing it not with a sign on them saying, "Hey, look, I'm here investigating you," but they were doing it, and they identified whatever transgressions occurred, and then you have the enforcement side that comes in and enforce. It's just the way the police operate. Whether they're from here or they're not from here.
Thank you. You have one question remaining.
Chief Williams, Harry Boomer, 19 News. How are you?
Come on.
Sir, I'd like to ask you, what is your message to criminals who would prey on the citizens of the city of Cleveland? Is it get out of town, don't do your crime here, we're going to get you with this, with this relentless pursuit? What message would you want to send directly to them about this pursuit?
Harry, it's all of the above. First of all, we don't want people to commit crime in the city, definitely not violent crime. And if you do, we're coming after you. We're going to try to, put you out of commission for as long as possible, get you off our streets, out of our neighborhoods. The mayor already talked about it. There are a lot of good people in the city. The majority of people in the city are great, hardworking people that just want to live their lives and be happy. And if Ms. Jones can't sit on her porch on a nice summer night like we're going to have tonight and enjoy herself, that's a problem. That's a problem for me. That's a problem for the mayor. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to make sure that when this is all said and done, that she can sit on her porch on any evening or any morning and enjoy herself and not, again, like we had recently, catch a stray bullet from some knucklehead out there that just wants to shoot because he has a gun or he has a beef with somebody else and get caught in the crossfire. So the message here is all of the above. Don't do the crime. If you do it, we're going to be trying to track you down with all the resources to bear that we have. And, if you think things are too hot in Cleveland, then get out of Cleveland.
Thank you, sir.
You have 0 questions remaining.
All right, 0 questions. I'll give you another few seconds to see if somebody else wants to answer. But in the meantime, I really want to point out that this is a concerted effort. And as I mentioned, it is no different than what we have been doing, and is not something that people are believing it would be based on what's happening in Portland. And that's our understanding as of yesterday and this morning. But believe me, if anything happens that changes that reality, we will get back with you and let you know, and then we will comment on whatever that change in reality is.
You have 0 questions remaining.
All right, I thank you very much. And again, if anything is any different than what we've communicated today, then we will quickly get back with you to let you know that. And this happens many times. If you hear it before us, then you can let us know and we will validate whatever it is, information you have, and then we will get back with you. Thank you.